Vanessa envied her. She envied all her friends, really. They'd been able to enjoy the astounding things Clecania had to offer without reservation, the wonderful food and technology, the beautiful clothes and incredible architecture. Every time happiness sparked in Vanessa, guilt immediately snuffed it out. Joy was not something she deserved, nor would it be until she got back home to Earth and made things right. The hair on her neck prickled, and she spotted the shop owner staring at her from the corner of the shop. She was an older woman, but gorgeous, with bright orange hair and fawn-colored eyes. Her deep navy skin was smooth and even, and the glittering markings curling over her body shone like veins of gold. With a tight-lipped nod, Vanessa turned and ventured farther into the store. The air was heavy, and the warm, woody smell of old books filled the tent, though there were no old books in sight. The hair on her neck remained lifted, and she frowned, knowing the woman was still watching her. Normally, she'd assume the owner was checking on her to make sure she didn't steal anything, but not on this planet. These aliens watched because they were curious. Vanessa could understand their curiosity. It wasn't every day an advanced species in danger of becoming extinct discovered an entire planet of people descended from them. Humans, as it turned out, had ancestors in common with the Clecanians. So much so, the leaders of this world thought of them as Clecanians, thought of them as their own people, but wouldn't give them the freedom to go back to Earth. The familiar surge of helpless frustration rolled through her, and she clenched her jaw. On Earth, she had a bank account with $362, a crappy detached garage turned studio apartment, and a supermarket job she'd been about to be fired from. Her life was no prize, and she wished she didn't feel the anxiety-inducing need to return home, but she couldn't help it. Deep in the back of the crammed tent, she paused at a long table piled high with random items. She didn't need to ask whether it was the sale table. Even on an alien planet, she could spot a clearance area from a mile away. A decorative purple box inlaid with ivory stone caught her eye. Dragging the box forward through a sea of oddly thick buttons she was sure weren't actually buttons, she lifted the lid. Inside, she found a stubby metallic cylinder with a narrow handle on the bottom. It reminded her of a squashed push-up popsicle. As a kid, whenever she could scrounge enough change together, she'd get one from the ice cream truck that chugged around the city during the summer. She turned the cylinder, squinting and trying to figure out what it was. Awareness washed over her, prickling the skin at the back of her arms and skittering down her scalp. She knew someone was close behind before she turned. Expecting to see the shop owner who'd been eyeing her, she was surprised to find a man instead. He was closer than she'd anticipated, though she couldn't understand how he'd snuck up on her. Vanessa had spent a good portion of her life learning to be aware of her surroundings, and the fact that this guy had somehow gotten within 2 feet of her before she'd noticed soured her mood further. "Hello there. Shopping?" he asked in a deep, smooth voice. Vanessa bit her tongue to hold back the sarcastic retort she had ready and waiting. Her bad attitude and poor people skills were a few of the many reasons she couldn't hold down a job for long. But why was it her fault that people asked dumb questions? "Yes, are you selling something? Or do you just enjoy hovering and asking women questions you already know the answers to?" And, as it always did, her attitude had come out. Self-sabotage was what her sister called it. Julie claimed Vanessa used her defensiveness to ward off anyone and everyone. For a moment, she fought with herself over whether to apologize, but the man grinned. Awareness of a different kind swept over her skin as she noticed the dimple popping in his right cheek and his even, white teeth. He was large, as were so many of the men here, and handsome. His disheveled black hair was tied in one of those ridiculous man buns. In truth, she loved the way they looked, but in reality, every guy she'd met who had one had been intolerable. A hipster or a conceited